don't want that.
We're good.
Yep. Ready.
Okay. Bill's almost got ready. Well, welcome everybody. We've got a full house today. That's kind of nice to see. A few of them I know are here for the drains, and we'll get on that right at the beginning of the meeting. So we're already in open. We were just at a closed session there, so we're coming back into open now. So I'll have moved by Councillor Dirksen. Oh, I had my disclosure. Sorry, where's my disclosure form? Bill took it. Yes, there was one conflict, and I have a conflict on item number 13C3 and 17D, and it's basically a property that is being discussed, and it's my daughter's property over in Palmerston, so at the industrial park. So I'm taking conflict of interest on that particular one. Okay.
What was 17?
17D, I think, is the bylaw at the end, if you go that way.
Right.
Okay, other than that, moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, the minutes of the July 3rd, 2018 council meeting be approved. All in favor? Carried. And next up would be additional items. Yep. I have one. Anybody else? Ron? Things happening? And you got anything?
I'll think of something.
Dave, sure. I figured we'd have one. Okay, well, whatever. Judy? Okay. If I forget you, let me know, right? Okay. So now we have a motion right here. Moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Councillor Anderson, the move into the Court of Revisions to be convened. I guess that's how it's that. Court of Revision is be convened. Okay. All in favor? I'll just kick all the rest of them off the bench here. Yeah, actually, the council, other than three of us, will now go and relax. I don't think there's any chairs out there for you. Do you have to do this?
Okay. Yes. So we're going to conduct your earlier question, Deputy Mayor Faulkner. We do not have a chair, so I'm going to conduct the nomination for the position of chair of the Court of Revision. If I would take motions from.
I'll nominate Mayor George Bridge.
Second that.
I could let somebody else do it if they want.
Any further nominations? Some more nominations be closed.
Okay.
Seconding that.
Sure.
I guess we're there.
In favor? Here.
Okay. Wow. We haven't had one of these for a while, I don't think. Right. And I'm kind of excited for the fact because this is the final stage before. Is it the final stage before these? One more after. Pretty close. One more appeal after this, but we've got 3 drains on here to do today, and it's great to see because I know we've been working on this Drainage Act stuff for the last 1.5 to 2 years, and we've had some slowdowns and different things for different reasons, but we're now seeing sort of the fruits of our labor come together here. So I guess I will call you up. Do we have to roll call for names?
So you're going to do that. Are there any landowners present?
Oh, yeah, any landowners for drain number 24 we're doing. Landowners present for drain 24. Yep. Okay.
You need their names.
We need your names. Have you signed in? Okay, we're all signed in. Okay, and we have to say drain 24 on. Okay, good. We're good.
Present.
Engineers right here, and maybe I'll.
Drainage superintendent's present.
Is right. So we got our staff and our superintendent. So
Mayor, Chair Bridge, under the appeal section, we did not have any written appeals received within the prescribed period. There is a motion for committee for the court to consider that we're going to do in each one of these sessions, and that the Court of Revision will allow late appeals or walk-in appeals. So we need a motion from the floor to that effect. If in fact you will accept those, and I think you would tend to accept those.
Yes, we would.
Someone could move that the Court of Revision allow late appeals or walk-ins. I'll make that motion.
By all in favor?
Now we're on to deliberations.
And I'll maybe ask the engineer to make the presentation.
Is this on?
Yes, it should be.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The assessment for Drain 24 is actually found on page 13. It's the yellow page of your report. And as you can see there, we've used different sections of the Drainage Act. We've allotted $282,400 in the form of Section 22 benefit. And in Section 23 outlet liability, $108,000, $108,325. There's quite a hefty special assessment on this particular drain. There's 3 road crossings involved and some rather specialized techniques to get underneath the county road. That special assessment is that represents the increased costs to the drainage system because of the existence of the road. To put that in layman's terms, it's easy to put a tile across 20 meters or 100 feet of field. It's a lot more difficult to put it underneath the county road. So that's the Section 26. If you add up those 3 columns, you'll see the total estimated cost for this project is $517,200. We've calculated the grants that are available for those properties that qualify for the farm tax class rate, and we've provided allowances under sections 29 and 30, and the total allowances have been calculated at $71,970. The far right column is basically your net or out of pocket. We've calculated that for the landowners, so that's basically your out of pocket expenses there. At this point in time, I'd be happy to try to answer any questions.
Questions?
Just, I have one, and it's been on my mind. Why doesn't the county just pay for it going underneath their road because it's a county road?
They almost do.
Oh, they almost do.
Well,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
going
yeah.
to say,
Fair
you
enough.
see the number that the county was evaluated on?
I know they were.
They almost
Yeah.
do.
And same with our town roads.
I guess my point was, I'm not sure why it needs to be part of it, the overall, other than it has to be done. Okay, thank you.
Thanks for the figure.
Yeah, that's right.
Any other questions from any of the landowners? Okay. Yeah, skipped on there. Okay. So if I don't have any more, what's our direction on the matter? We accept the report? That the quarter revision accepts the assessment as presented.
You need a motion?
Yeah,
I'll
need a
make that motion.
On. All in favor? Thank you. So I declare that one closed. Little thing there. Okay. Next up,
Number 39.
number 39. Same idea. I'll call it to order. Any conflict of interest? Roll call. And anybody here on 39?
Any landowners?
Landowners on 39? Okay.
Engineer,
Same
staff.
engineer. Yep.
Now again, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
Same motion that the Court of Revision will allow late appeals or walk-ins since we did not have any written appeals.
I'll make that this time.
All in favor? Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Once again, this is it's been assessed under the same fashion as Drain 24. In this particular case, we have a main drain and a branch C. The individual assessments for each part of this project, they start on page 14 with the main drain assessments. And in the same manner as before, we've used different sections of the Act, and actually the same sections 22, 23, and 26. We've assessed a total of $74,000 by way of benefit, $60,630 in outlet liability. The special assessments have been calculated for the roads at $70,270. Total assessment for the main drain is estimated to be $204,900. The 1/3 government grant has been calculated for those properties that qualify for the grant, and allowances under sections 29 and 30 have been provided, and that total amount is $23,200 for basically out-of-pocket expenses in the far right column of $145,931. The same thing for branch C. We use sections 22 benefit and sections 23 outlet liability. There is no special assessment under 26 for this particular branch. We've assessed a total of $5,500 by way of benefit, and under section 23 outlet, $3,500 for a total estimated cost of this branch of $9,000. Some grants are available to a couple of properties in the amount of $1,517. Allowances of $1,230 have been provided. The far right column is the net assessment, and that's basically the out of pocket, which is $6,253. On page 16, the yellow page, we've just done a summary for landowners' convenience. We put the total assessment of the main drain, total assessment of C. We've added them together. We've calculated their grants available and total allowances provided for an overall package of the net on the yellow page.
Okay. Questions? I don't know if you guys have any. And the Court of Revision accepts the assessment as presented. David? Ron? All in favor? Okay, thank you.
60.
Now to number 60. Same idea. I'll call it to order. Any conflict of interest? None. Names of landowners present. Have anybody on 60? Everybody was on the first one. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry, before he does that,
Oh, you have to do that little thing.
the appeal.
Nobody's
I
here.
think so.
I think it's your turn.
I guess we should do that anyway.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're good.
Right?
Okay.
We had no appeals received prior.
No.
This is a small one.
Yeah.
Okay. Once again, in the same fashion as the other two, the assessment here is all on one page. It's the yellow page, page 8 of the report. And we've used only the two sections of the Drainage Act to assess out these costs, sections 22 benefit and 23 outlet liability. We've assessed a total amount of $34,000 as benefit and $20,100 as outlet liability. The total estimated cost of this particular project being $54,100. We've calculated the grants for properties that qualify for them, and they all do in this particular case, except for the roads. The grant money has been calculated at $16,711, and allowances have been provided in the amount of $6,330 for a total net or out-of-pocket expenses estimated to be $31,059.
Great. Question? No. Okay, where's that one? The Court of Revision accepts the assessment as presented. On? All in favor? Okay, thank you. Yeah. Is that, you don't have that thing?
You just do it.
I just adjourn that Court of Revision is adjourned. Thank you very much for coming.
Other members come back.
Yeah, other people comes back now, everybody. Run around, Mary Lou. As I say, it's nice to see some of those going. When would be?
Can I make a statement on that? Just for the landowners on that, I know it's a very, very testing financially as well as everything. But I also am a landowner myself, and I know the benefit. And I think June 23rd of this past year was a testament on how valuable it is to do those things right. And so my hat's off to you folks for getting it done right. Oh, Mary Lou has a
Mary Lou,
question.
yes.
Oh, sure, I think.
Yes.
Oh, would you come up to the mic, please? You're on TV.
Which drain is it?
24.
24, and maybe Greg, you can.
So the benefit amount, I guess this gentleman probably is the one who, how was that figured out?
24.
We are the tip top.
Oh.
This 109 here. So
Was
you
24.
tell us
Nobody
that
was on.
this
Or, I
benefit
mean, sorry,
amount
60.
This is you?
Yes.
Okay, the $600.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If we take a look at where you are, you're right here.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. I don't have these figures in front of me, but it costs a certain amount to design and construct and take care of this drainage works. So we take a look at the amount of investment that the public is making on a property, and we assess a portion of those costs to the property as a benefit assessment. And I'm sorry, I have the figures out in the truck, but I don't have the exact.
So the drainage is like for us, because we're not farming, we're not.
That doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
So even though we haven't particularly found any disadvantage to not having it drained, I guess.
Well,
We don't, so we can't opt out of these things.
No.
no. The idea of the Drainage Act, and Craig will explain maybe that to you, that it was done in the late 1800s, just to get, when you have to do this and you're putting a drain in and everybody has to take responsibility. And if somebody calls for, I believe it's a review because they're having problems, then everybody on the drain has to be involved in it. So I think Greg could maybe explain that more to you and
benefits anybody that's having problems along the way, right?
Yeah,
We're
it's.
not finding any problems.
Yes, we quite often get a discrepancy in our interpretation of benefit versus landowners.
Yeah.
And I think quite often they think my property doesn't benefit because I don't want it. That's not exactly the way we look at it. We look at it, as I said before, the watershed community, it's a user pay system, and they're making an investment in this system. You're part of it, and a part of it is on your property too. So you're having public investment in your property.
And what kind of construction can somebody expect will be going on?
What kind of construction?
Yeah, is it like just gonna drill some of the
No,
culverts or
no.
tiles or-
This will likely be probably put in with a wheel machine.
Mhm.
And so we'll strip the topsoil on your lawn, set it aside, and then pull the gravel off your driveway, and then wheel through it, and then put everything back on top.
Excellent. And another question I had too is that we do have culverts there. Are they not facilitating what needs to happen then? Culverts are not doing
No.
enough?
The culverts are for surface water. This system is for mostly
Underground.
subsurface water. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a good question.
okay, we're back. Okay, is it based on the same drain?
Yes.
Okay. Are we at,
We're not in quarter.
we're not in quarter revisions anymore. That's unfortunate. I think I did call for
Yeah, you
a
did.
question. Can you talk to the engineer afterwards on it, or do you need it in front of the council? Because we really don't have any. The quarter revision isn't in play anymore. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's one more appeal process if it's dollars and cents. I think there's still another appeal process for that. Again, quarter revision doesn't deal with that. Am I right on that? We don't deal with the dollar assessments.
Quarter revision does.
Yes,
Yeah,
quarter
we do.
revision does. I'm sorry, but was that going to be brought up? That should have been brought up when we had the quarter revision open. I did ask for questions on that. So. I guess I don't know.
I don't think we can go back.
Council would like, I could explain their assessment in a bit more detail.
Well, maybe that would be good. Would that help? And at least we'll know about it. Is that what you're concerned about? Like your particular one on
Mayor
yours?
Ridge, perhaps we could consider this as a question under question period.
Yes,
So
good point. Good point.
Just do it that way, and that
Yeah.
way it gets it on the floor in the proper way. We're not in
Okay.
quarter revision, so there cannot be any changes made, but.
We-
Do you want me to start?
Yeah,
So maybe they need to come up and ask their question.
Yeah. that would be fine. Yes. So this is under our open question. So if you want to come up and ask your question about your costs, you like to do that?
Yes.
So if you would come up to the mic and then say your name and just so people on that.
Yeah. So my first thing is
tile plane from my home farm, and then that one is normally everything in there. And Craig tell me, sorry, that's not the right one.
Sorry, just your question on the, is it on the amounts?
Give me the other one from the home farm, please. This one was here on the picture.
Yeah, this is gonna be awful difficult. Your question is what?
The question is that one.
On the cost.
So much top water than is expected on this sheet, and there never getting in that tile.
Okay.
That's the number I should.
So if I can get the engineer to explain this to the council, would that be all right? So if you want to sit down, I'll get the engineer to maybe do yours in more detail of why you were assessed.
I can't tell that back 4 years ago, but not something was known that.
Well, let's Greg explain it, and we'll go from there.
Okay. I met with Helmut actually a couple of years ago in this process, and we have his drainage maps, exactly copies of what he's talking about here. And I met with him again a couple of weeks ago, and we just don't agree on things, and that sometimes happens. I think he's questioning the watershed, and he's saying that a bunch of this water doesn't get into the drain, and I think it's because there's a pocket back there that doesn't. You never really see water leaving. But if you're in the overall watershed, you are assessed for that. Helmut has questioned the watershed. His maps were actually prepared, topographic maps were actually prepared by Triton Engineering a few years ago. So we started with that, and we have since compared it with swoop data. It checks, and due to the Harrison flooding issues, now we have LiDAR, which actually covers that boundary too. Extremely accurate. And I also sent one of our staff members out into the field after our meeting with Helmut, and there's a number of shots there that indicate that we're pretty much right on with the watershed. And I think what Helmut's trying to say is the water never actually leaves there. There is a pocket.
There is a pocket?
There is a pocket, yeah.
Can I ask a question on that? Then is it a private drain then would be put into that pocket to get it to the municipal drain?
I believe that's already been done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because usually that's the case.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it was Marquette Farm Drainage that did the neighbors, which would accommodate that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
If we take a look at, that's the watershed issue. If we take a look at the acreage that Helmut owns, let's see now, acreage. He owns approximately 154.7 acres, so about 40% of the overall watershed. And he's at the upper end of it, so he has to contribute something towards all of it, really. If we take a look at the cost of the work on his property is approximately $105,000. And his net expenses out of pocket is about $40,000, which is about 38%. So we've charged 38% to Helmut, and the remaining has been assessed to those upstream. If we take a look at the total cost of the project, that $40,154 represents about 8% of the overall project. That number might be a little bit misleading because of the heavy special assessments here. So if we take those special assessments out, the lands, not the roads, the lands within this watershed are being assessed a total of $276,308, of which Helmut's net of $40,154 represents 15% of the overall cost of the project.
40% of the cost.
Roads, yeah. Another way to look at assessment is you can compare his assessment to neighbors. And if we take a look at the DNC Martin property, that's roll number 4-111. They are right up at the upper end of the drain. right at the very top end, and their cost per acre, their net cost per acre is $787 per acre. One of Helmut's Farm's net cost per acre is $311 per acre, and his other farm is $186 per acre. If we compare this to the downstream property, his neighbor downstream, Paul Martin, his net cost per acre for this are $374 per acre. So I think if you look at it, almost any way you look at it, I think we've been fair. I realize installing these drains isn't always a good time for everyone financially, but that's how we've done his assessment.
Okay.
We think we've been fair. But it's up to you.
Yep. All right. Well, we're not in court
That's
revision
fine,
anyway.
Quack, but you talk always from the cost per acre, but not once talk about the acres didn't get in there, the numbers of acres didn't get in there.
Well,
You always have the cost in there, and they will pay it, but not once tell about the acres, the number of acres, and that's the difference.
okay. Well, I think we have to rely on our expertise here, and again, this process is done on that way. We're not in a court revision. We're just taking the question.
Why
I
that
think
top
there is one more appeal process for you if you're talking about the dollars. I believe that is coming down the road, so you have another opportunity to appeal.
So, anybody means top water getting over the neighbors field and getting back along on the road to in that drain, but that is not so. My top water getting what's not have to slop to the front to the road is getting to the back in the creek, and not once running over to the neighbor. That's the news, and that's a whole lot acres.
Well,
I have on the home farm.
I don't know
measured
if that's
that
part of
after
this.
the
I don't
last-
believe that's part of this, but
After the last meeting, I spent a couple of days and measured that, getting on this red tab right between Paul Martin and me, where he means the water getting in there or to get over the fence line. The water have to get 1.5 feet to pile up before this running over the fence.
And those are
But
the,
Paul's part is a little bit higher,
would
but
like
that
to-
comes from working over the year.
I'd like to, if we could, have a motion that the engineer and Mike would get together with you. Maybe if the council would do a motion and discuss this further with your situation. But I believe today we're not going to solve this. So, as a council, we can, if somebody wants to make that motion. Judy?
And the other option is
Well-
the whole house coming out and have a look.
Okay, well, move by Judy. We're going
Local,
second by
that's
David.
the other
All in
option.
favor? So, Helmut, I want you to sit down with Mike and Greg, and because this sounds like a different issue, and go from there, and you got the other appeal process available to you. Thank you.
It's over.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you.
Moved by Councillor Caldwell, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner. The Town of Minto Council convenes in the committee of the whole. All in favor? That's why I was surprised you didn't ask.
That's too bad that didn't, yeah, too bad. Yeah, that's too bad.
Right, we have delegations next, and we have our first delegation is because as you notice in our public meetings we can't begin them until 5. We're not there, so we're going to do that at 5. So Sarah Bowers, would you like to come up? And Peter to do an update on a great program. Always enjoy when you come.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for your time today. I am the program coordinator of Crime Stoppers Guelph Wellington, and I just want to introduce one of our board members, Rick Beasley, who is with me here today. And I wanted to bring you an update on what we've been doing with the program. I know I was here a couple of years ago, but we've been quite busy since, and hopefully answer any questions you may have. Starting off, this is the 30th anniversary of Crime Stoppers Guelph Wellington, and part of the reason why I'm here today is to hopefully get your support and do our flag holding as we've done in the past. We've had a number of announcements and events throughout the year, and it started off with our vehicle, 2017 Ram Quad Cab, which was through Wellington Motors in Guelph. It's also supported by Wellington County OPP, who fuels it and tires it for us so we can stay on the road. And also to clarify, some people feel that it's the board that's been paying for the vehicle. We actually had a private donor come forward and cover the cost for the vehicle. And if you were aware of the previous vehicle that we had, the little Ranger, it was time to let the Ranger go to its great reward. So now we have the Ram. It's a lovely vehicle, and certainly with the branding that we have on it and the puzzle piece motif, it's a great way to sort of communicate to people to come forward and give information and be that missing piece of the puzzle that we're looking for in solving crime. Since we've seen you, we've actually won 3 international awards that were presented to our Canadian president in Panama City, Panama last October. We're going to apply again. We're going to see how it goes this year. It's in Holland. We're not going, but it would be nice. I told our Canadian president to pack extra space or leave extra space in his luggage, and hopefully we'll be successful in getting awards again this year. But in the meantime, we won 5 awards provincially back in June at the provincial conference in Hamilton, and that was more than any other program in Ontario, and we were very proud and pleased to be able to share that with you. So what we've been working on recently is we launched a marine campaign this summer, and that's for areas in the county that have water and boating and recreational properties that could benefit from awareness of the Crime Stoppers program. We also, just last Friday, had our 30th anniversary celebration on August 3rd, because that was the actual date of our incorporation. We were very excited and had a good turnout for that. Our goal and objective is to really just spread the message of Crime Stoppers Guelph Wellington to new audiences, and I would encourage you, if there's ever a time that we can present or do a presentation to a community group or a local organization, we'd be happy to do that. Also, because we can't speak to the specific events and cases that we help with, we can share our stats. And from 1988 till the end of 2018, our tipsters are responsible for clearing 2,258 cases. There have been 4,277 charges laid as a result of that information. There has been over $37.4 million in cash, drugs, and personal property recovered as a result of the Crime Stoppers program here in Guelph Wellington. Our board of directors, of which Rick is one, we've had our board approve awards in excess of $166,000. So when you do the math on that, for every dollar going out in a cash reward, we're bringing back $245 in illegal drugs, personal property, and cash. And I'm very happy to announce, we just learned this a couple days ago, which is appropriate given the 30th anniversary of our program, we received our 20,000th tip. So to the program, which is quite an accomplishment for a smaller size program. To give you some perspective, we average between 60 and 70 tips a month. Most of them are drug tips, which is good. We definitely want those calls. In April of this year, we had 87 tips, and we've not had that level of tips to our program outside of a major crime. So a homicide investigation, I believe the Tory Stafford case would be the last time we had that volume of calls. So we like to think that because overall throughout this year our tip volume is up, that the word is out. We're finally getting a real stronghold in the community. People are understanding how to use the program and what we mean and what we can do to help resolve crime. So looking back the last few years, we were challenged by Wellington County OPP in the support of this role to increase awareness north of Centre Wellington. There was a good presence in Centre Wellington, presence in the city of Guelph. And I like to think that's happened between the road signs, the events and activities that we've been having, and certainly we would look forward to doing something in the town of Minto if there's ever an opportunity to partner with you, or again, a fundraising or awareness opportunity here in the town. And if there's any other questions, I would be happy to answer them, but that would be the extent of my update for today.
Questions?
It's not a question as much as a comment. A few years ago, I stopped an officer and said that I had something to report. And he suggested to me right away, instead of trying going through the process of calling the OPP and trying to work through the system, that I contact your group. And I did that, and the results were enormous. It's a drug bust. Because of you people, it happened almost within weeks. And it wasn't the fault of the OPP, it's just that you people seem to have a hand to get things done. I do appreciate your...
I'd like to take credit for that personally, but we don't advocate in telling people that you've contacted Crime Stoppers, just to be clear.
I told them my name, I wasn't afraid of.
Oh my gosh, Rob.
You're killing me right now, Mr.
They weren't real happy with me, but I said...
Take this pamphlet home with you.
That's right.
I said, why do I want to be anonymous? Because I don't care about
I know.
it.
As a rule, we prefer people to be anonymous.
I know,
so
they told me
there you
that. I said, I don't want to be.
go. Okay.
But I think part of that's so people aren't at risk, right? Sarah?
That's right. We do get information that is highly sensitive, and some of our best information comes from people who are, the ex-partners, the ex-spouses, people who got cut out of the last deal, people that are getting cut out of this deal, and we don't judge. That's not our position. We want to take that information and pass it on to police for investigation, and we've been successful. So we're very happy to have that role in the community and bring forward information that might otherwise not come to light.
Right on. That's a great program, and I know it's
Thank
working
you.
well, and keep all the work. Did you want to?
I brought a flag.
Yeah.
It's
Do
okay
you
to
want to take a
photo really
picture?
quick?
Let's. So everybody want to get in front like we did last time. I think with the flag. That's the idea. Everybody. 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was a couple years ago.
I'm just gonna pull this back so you can all sit up here.
Okay.
Located up there. They can identify you from your picture.
Listen,
It's on
I don't want them to say my name. Hide that. I just want to check.
I didn't hear that.
Yep. Yep. Okay, want to change it? Oh, no, yeah, that'd be great for yourself. So happy with you then. Maybe squeeze in just a little bit more. That's good. Maybe just, I can't see the very bottom of this one. Sorry. Okay, right here? Okay, that's good.
Oh, jeez.
It's horrible. You have them very back.
Absolutely. Just go to the website, contact us at this week. Yeah. CSGW.us.
Oh no! Don't we have next one more delegation?
Sure enough.
No, it's everybody got a pin.
It's not great.
Okay, and I guess our next delegation, if we could have them come up, David and Ryan and Gord, I think you're coming along. Bring another chair. It's our audit review presentation. Did you bring a flag? Oh, here we are. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
I hear you just, it was a special trip for you because you don't come down very often anymore. He's been at his cottage, relaxing. Oh, here he goes. There he goes. No, okay, we're good. Are we going to use one mic or two? We're good. Pass it back and forth.
You talking? No, we'll pass it around.
No, we'll pass it around. Okay.
So,
So I just introduce her.
certainly. All right.
I don't know, what do you got?
There you go. That's even better.
Okay.
So. It's us. All right. So you all know Dave Ritzenbach, hopefully. He's been.
We're trying to get it up.
You're still that?
That's the back camera. You went on the wrong way.
Oh, it's mine.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we've never seen that before, Bill.
Look over here.
Apple TV.
Never seen that before.
Pictures.
You guys look
That's
good.
the center.
We want to make sure we get this right, guys, because you're on television, white on everything.
All right.
Okay.
There, I think we're getting it now.
All right.
Trying to get the
Technology.
Better you than me.
Not quite.
to do this.
So it is switched to looking at the TV now.
Is it already?
Yeah.
You can tell that.
Facing this way.
Okay.
Nope.
There again.
You've got it.
Bear with us.
Yours is right.
Sensei smoking up here.
No, you can't say that.
Other things you can't do.
This is called dead air.
We're getting it. I think we're getting it.
There we
Yeah.
are.
Everybody got it up now? Good. There we go. Go ahead.
Now you go.
Okay, here we go again. All right. So you all know Dave Ritzenbach, who's been here all of your 8 years or 4 years in your case. And we have Ryan DL, who's the audit partner, I guess, for the Minto audit. So I think we'll let Ryan maybe go through a couple of highlights. Got the same kind of format for a presentation. Where basically we go through balance sheet, income statement, cash flow, and some of the highlights. And if you have any questions, just pop in. So, just kind of go through that, or
Thank you very much. Once again, my name's Ryan DL, and I'm a partner at Warden Updergrove in Listowel, and we did the audit this year. We acquired Dave Ritzenbach's practice last October of 17, and Dave has done the audit for quite a few years, which he'll talk about at some point. And we're excited to have the office in the town of Minto, and to continue on servicing Dave's clients, and one of them being the town of Minto. I'd like to thank Gord and his staff for helping us with the audit. Basically, the most important part is the auditor's report and the fact that it was a clean audit. So it's a clean audit opinion, no adverse opinion, no denial of opinion. It was a clean audit and nothing bad to report. So that's the main thing.
It's a good thing.
So good job, Gord.
that's the main part.
Yeah. From a high level, I'm just kind of going to go through my financials very quickly, and
all
then
in your package, I believe.
the statement of financial position, which show the financial assets, the financial liabilities, and the accumulated surplus. You'll see the top part of the statement of financial position, over $13.8 million in financial assets. That's a growth of over $800,000. Lots of cash. Receivables agreed to third-party statements and subsequent deposits, some investments, and some inventories. You'll see that there's financial liabilities of $12.9 million. You take that off of the total financial assets, and you get a net financial assets of $893,000, which is good. It's a very strong statement of financial position. Some of the payables are up a little bit. Deferred revenue is up because of more development charges. And at the bottom, you have over almost $75 million in non-financial assets, most of them being capital assets. There's been lots of expenditures in 2017, over $5 million in capital additions. So very strong statement of financial position. Assets exceed liabilities, and lots of capital assets. Flipping to the consolidated statement of operations, looking at the middle actual financials, the income statement, you'll see a surplus of about $2.1 million. Don't spend it all at once.
We were told that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's good. Your revenues are up from $14.1 million to $15.3 million. Taxation revenues are up a little bit. User fees are up over $500,000. Some higher rates, increase in recreation, higher activity in the building department. Province of Ontario transfers are up over almost $400,000. Just some new grant funding this year. Expenses went from $13.1 million to almost $13,191 to over $13,159. So not a major difference there. So large increase in revenues. Expenses are fairly online. large annual surplus. Any more comments, Gord?
Well, as I say, you always have to take this format of statement with a bit of a grain of salt. I think last year we had a very pessimistic picture, and so we lost 90, and this year we have 2 million. It exaggerates it, and so much of it is based on the combination of your operating and your capital funds all into one statement. And your operating are a bit more predictable. The capital can go up, like you notice our cash position is so high. Why is it so high? Because we got a lot of connecting link funding at the end of 2017 and 16 and that too, which we're out there spending right now too. So it tends to make it very distinct from the actual cast that's going on, as you know too. And in 2017, we didn't really add on to debt, so that pays down. That helps your net financial assets, if you like, too. Which there's quite a variance too. And there's a small thing, we set up a little bit of inventory for the pipe and that kind of inventory. So that's again,
Mary Lou has.
sure, Mary Lou.
Just a question,
Sure.
could you expand on the gain or loss on tangible fixed assets?
Yeah, so there's a lot of cleanup, I guess, on our assets and that. So frequently we get rid of, well, we depreciate it. We set a useful life in the assets. And on the whole, I think that's relatively shorter than what they actually take. So you have an asset such as maybe a fire truck or something, or a lot of it's land too, because you know we're selling a lot of land. So it comes in at like the whole proceeds is all gain on disposal, and a lot of it is land in this year. Yeah. Again, there's some assets that you do totally write down, and you know you got 20,000 or whatever for it. So
We had quite a bit
that's
of
different.
land sold in Clifford and.
Yeah, a tremendous
Okay,
amount,
yeah, I just
and
wondered
the
what the big
industrial
item
park.
was.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Though. Good point,
Yeah,
Mary Lou.
that
Yep.
and combined
Okay,
with
thank
with that too. And you'll notice we've got a special one, if you like, PSAB adjustments, and that is it's more of a computer technicality rather than accounting thing. So last summer I went through a lot of our citywide asset base and was trying to look at it, and I came across some old assets, and I mean old. They primarily relate to the Palmerston sewer treatment plant, most of that there, and they weren't in our base. So anyway, I was talking with one of the analysts at Citywide, and we thought we had it all figured because the net book value was fine, but these were assets that were fully amortized. I add them on, and then I'm trying to balance these statements. I'm out 380,000. Oh, I got to do a current period adjustment. So, not knowing where else we put that in, I can't promise you'll never see that again because we're continually looking at these asset bases, and that's where that.
Yeah, but I think it's best to get it correct.
Yeah.
So
So we
right
showed
now.
it. Yeah.
It's moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't very great.
Yeah. It wasn't assets that we didn't have.
Yeah, I was gonna
Assets
say,
we
Mary
had.
Lou, you weren't happy with that. I would.
Well, so there's a change in net financial assets, and that relates a lot to what we just said. You've got your annual surplus, that adjustment, less acquiring tangible capital assets, the amortization. I think that's another reason our results are higher. Our amortization on the books this year is a bit lower than last year too, partly related to that gain and that too. So the proceeds, like you see, last year was 222. This year is 930. So we did sell a lot of items we had on the books as fixed assets, and then a little bit on prepaid, and so we ended up we went from a $94,000 deficit to almost a $900,000 surplus. But again, so much of it is because of these changes in fixed assets. And your cash flow is maybe a little more useful because it shows you where the money went, and again, your operating surplus, your amortization, changes in receivables. So taxes actually went up a little bit. Receivables came down. Canada grants, we didn't have too many Canada grants in 17. We had quite a few in 16. Depends on the proposals. Ontario grants, again, connecting links, a big one, CIF. Our hospital loan flow through, so if you recall the last couple of years we set it up $1.5 million, and now we're paying down $50,000 in principal. each year that's a flow through. Again, acquisition, you see some figures you'll see again, they look familiar, they tie in from one statement to another. Construction and progress, so basically that is projects we have on the go, which Ann Street, George Street, all those ones there too. So they go into this work in progress, and that's where if you're looking, you'll see one tangible asset figures about 72 million, 174. Well, what's the difference? The difference is the work in progress that we have there. So we paid down $1,050,000 in debt and had proceeds again of 960. So our cash position improved significantly in that year and will be gone down in 18. And we have many pages of notes. We did discuss, we are going to make a change going forward. We have all the detailed amortization tables for every loan. And I think we're going to try and just summarize that.
Yeah, consolidate the long-term debt note into maybe one page versus 7 or 8.
Good. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Save some paper and get to the point.
What was the other? The financial instruments notes. I think you change that too.
Yeah, the financial instruments note is
That's towards the end, isn't it?
note 18.
After all, amortization. Yeah, so actually on page 24 of what we've got. Just I think it's up to
It's just up to date to
standards,
modern
I guess.
standards to explain more about credit risk and currency risk, which there isn't any. There's no U.S. dollar transactions, interest rate, liquidity, and other price risk. So just getting up to handbook speed on some of the disclosure. No issues noted there. We just have to explain some of the risks that are out there.
And we did our usual. We looked at comparable municipalities, like 3 different ones from 3 different audit firms. And didn't you find it was like 2 out of 3?
Yep.
You rarely got a 3 out of 3, even in your 10th year of PSAB reporting, but nobody's got a completely consistent.
Exactly the same.
And the accumulated surplus, I guess the interesting part there, it gives you a breakdown of the reserves and reserve funds and what they're earmarked for. PSAB adjustment, I don't think you really changed too many other notes or that.
So everything.
And you did, well, segmented disclosure, basically that's showing operating and spending by function. For those of you familiar with the FIR, it's Schedule 12 revenue and Schedule 40 expenditures. A breakdown not by function but by category of our assets. So you have land improvements, buildings, vehicles, equipment, roadways, water assets, and wastewater. And I'm hoping in the next month or 2 you'll have a detailed asset management plan to review, and so have even more detail too. So. And you updated the wording on the cemetery. Yeah, the auditor's report.
Hang on.
Sure, yeah.
My diagram seems to be different than the one on the.
Oh, those ones? Okay.
Oh, yeah. So I'm not on that one.
So
Mine says cash and net
and
financial asset,
asset.
and my red line is totally different than what's on there.
You're right. That's an old one. That ends in 2016.
I was going to say, I was going to
Go
say
with
that.
the one in your package.
The one in the
'cause
package
it's
is the one we want.
2017.
Let's go to 17. 16's
Yeah.
there.
And
I
it
go,
shows
whoa,
the
am I-
it shows the upturn.
The good news is
That's
16
true.
is where.
And this is a clean audit, eh?
Yeah. Not clean presentation. Not-
Presentation.
And hopefully you got 17 on the reserves and discretionary reserves.
It's the red line on mine is literally a
V.
mirror image
Yeah.
of the assets.
That's exactly it. We're
Right.
basically where we were in 2015.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's true.
Right there, right?
Oh, you got
There it is.
Got it now. You had the
That
wrong
looks
one up.
better.
We're good.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, that's what we have in the printed copy.
That's the real one.
Yeah. And then reserves again, relatively constant if you look back over 3 years. Obligatory. So obligatory is federal gas parkland. Parkland is pretty small. But as you know, with all the activity in the building department, development charges, even though our development charges after the last study are not up that much, our activity has more than offset it. So that's going to be good for doing some road work in that. the general surplus, if we got a B on that one too, it kind of reflects the last one. We're back to where we were in
My-
15
If I
again.
may?
Yep. Yeah.
My guess is that it's the light on my screen that's difficult to discern, but the parkland
Yeah.
in 2016 looks sure a lot less than the parkland on 17 and 15.
Yeah. So we've got.
Why
so
is that?
Parkland basically comes from subdivision contributions.
Okay.
Yeah.
that
So
makes
so they
sense.
come. It
Yeah.
unfortunately comes in at the value before anything's done, right? So it's the pre-development. So the assessment values are very low. It may be 5%, but 5% is a very
Okay,
small.
that's fine.
amount. Again, general surplus, and then revenue. No surprise. We have a lot of like fees and user charges. So the bulk of that is water and sewer. We're very dependent on that. But that also reflects things like recreation charges and building permits and that too. Grants, that's what OMPF helps us do the operating, and the capital grants help us do the financial large projects. And the expenditures, again, roads actually went down a little bit as a percentage. Water and sewer, roughly a quarter. Fire's up a little bit, recreation's down a bit. And then planning and development, that includes economic. And general government is basically everything that's not in another category. So that's where the money goes. And in general, as I say, the Clifford Connecting Link project, which got underway last year, is really going to dominate 2018. And yeah, you see it in the accounts. That's where things go. And you'll see in the economic presentation coming on, we're also doing a lot of other little initiatives, but the dollars and cents are in the hard assets for sure. If you want to say anything else? Yeah.
I don't think there's anything specific to that. Hey, this is my last visit here. No, this goes back. I started here in 1972.
72.
As
Like
an
born
audit,
then?
as
Yeah,
an
maybe,
audit junior, and I think I just jotted down some names here, like Walter Quantz brought me on as the auditor in 82.
Right.
K.R. Fisk of the town of Harriston in 84, and Bruce Walter in 90 to Clifford. And then Bill Lawless, of course, was the amalgamation.
Sure, yeah.
I look back like Don Aitchison, Fran Hale, Eleanor Gordon, Esther King, Diane Lawless, Neil Murray, Tuffy McDougall. I was just reminiscing back about over the end. There's lots more of them, but I got a long umbilical going back there.
Kind of neat, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to miss it. So thank you for your support over the years. It's much appreciated, and it's been a pleasure serving you.
Thank you, David.
You don't have to stop coming, Dave.
Yeah, you can still come
I'm
every
throw
year.
popcorn from the wherever.
Yeah, you'd really find the auditing report really exciting, having not been in the field all those years, right?
Any questions for the
I
auditors?
guess I have a report in there somewhere. So
I have a motion here.
Yes.
Yep. You want me to read that motion?
yeah, we should, just in case anybody asks.
You got it. Okay. I need a mover and a seconder that the report dated July 27, 2018 regarding the 2017 financial statements and financial information return be received. And further, that the 2017 audited financial statements and financial information return be approved as presented. Mary Lou?
Okay, I'll second it, but I'd like to make a question.
Oh, you have a question?
Yeah, I do. Okay. Just our financial situation, if I may.
Yep.
Our financial situation, this is my 8th year. It's going to be my last year too. And pretty proud of the legacy that the councils that I have served on have brought forth to this community. And I guess my question is, so that are we positioned well for the future? Because we all know the infrastructures, the various infrastructures of the town put a lot of pressure on tax collection, expanding, spending, all that kind of stuff. And I guess what my question is, going out of completing my term of office, is are we in decent shape?
I can say, but you guys.
I certainly think you
outsiders.
are. As I said from the get-go, it's a strong statement of financial position, lots of assets, less liabilities. And there's a plan, like you say in your report here, Gordon, to keep spending more, right? So you're positioned there to,
you bet.
you're positioned there to do
You
that.
can't do everything.
Yeah.
I know.
You
It's
have to
frustrating.
prioritize,
Yes.
and you have to spend what you've got and spend it where it's most needed. And that's the art, the challenge of being in your position.
In the position.
Is evaluating, how much have we got? How much can we borrow? How much debt can we service? How much debt do we want to service? What do we really need? And those are all things you juggle, and you've been juggling them for years,
Yep.
Like you've made some real improvements to the water and sewer, but you can't do everything.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That would be my thing too. And going forward, like every year we say, well, we can't keep this level. Every year we do, but we do because we do things like Connecting Link, where the part that's eligible, we're paying 10%. We're going to be putting another Ontario Infrastructure Fund application for that too. Without that support from our upper levels,
Ooh,
there is no
so
way
good.
we
That's
could do
right.
this. And we still can't do everything. We always have to choose things, and it's difficult to continually have mandated services and no mandated funding with it.
And I will
yeah,
gladly
it
second.
certainly
Okay,
is.
that's
Yeah.
fine. And I make one further comment, and I just want to, because I know Mary Lou is not coming back with us as well, but having Mary Lou and Gord and myself, we worked on the budget process, and I think David's dead on. Like, we looked at it years ago when we started this process, that we can't do everything. We have to prioritize. And I think we've tried to keep our reserves, Mary Lou, and our debt reasonable, because when we can't take advantage of grants, which are out there, and I give the staff a lot of credit, and I know the council does as well, that we've been able to get a lot of grant money that other municipalities haven't been in certain situations, which allow us to do that next step. Now, I always say that money should be coming to us on a regular basis. I don't think we should be running around having to do grants, but we'll talk to the next government about that. But in the end of the day, we should be like the federal gas tax, where we get it on a regular basis, that we don't have to worry about project-driven stuff. But that's another topic. But I appreciate the report and the fact that Mary Lou, I give you a lot of credit for running for 8 years the financial side of things.
And I give that gentleman sitting in the middle down there
Yes.
a lot of credit.
Yes, we've had a good team.
He's kept us informed. That's important. And one thing here, we didn't borrow money last year, and that's a lot what the strength looks like. It's not 18 is not going to look quite as pretty because of that fact. And I think we have to be aware of that.
Yep, that's true.
So the cash position we're in right now, or at the end of 17, is wonderful. But we have had Clifford in 2018, so just keep that in mind going into the next year. And we've always kept that debt to reserve at attainable goal. And I think if future councils keep that in mind, we'll be okay.
Yeah, I think that's a common thread. Good.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
all in favor of
Thank
the
you.
motion? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
See?
Thank you. Enjoy retirement.
Yeah.
Now, we had one public question. Have we any other public questions? We already had one, but we can certainly open it up again. We just thought we'd do the other one at the appropriate time. No question? Okay. Correspondence received for information regarding direction of council. Anybody got anything on the correspondence? I have one on the Ministry of Transportation about the Clifford Highway, and I've asked the staff to come with a report to the next council with sort of how we're going to adapt that. I've got a lot of, I'm sure everybody on this table has had people come to them and say, oh, we're worried about the road too, and if this is pushed off and what the traffic's going to be like and how we're going to control that. So I've asked Mike to get in touch with both the county, because one of them is county road, and our roads and the province, and try to work something out. We also, by the way, if you notice in your correspondence you just got, we are meeting with the Minister of, or the PA for Transportation, and we're going to bring that project and the bridge on 89, find out when they're doing that. Because one of the things that I really feel that we need better communication with our Minister of Transportation ourselves. I know when the bridge in 89 was closed, it took us 6 or 7 hours to find out what was going on. And that should not have been the case. We should have been informed right away, so we could have put something in place as far as detours and maybe inform our people. But they just slapped the sign up and that was it. And I got a call. I was out somewhere and I got a call from one of the residents and said, what's going on? And I told them, and I know you guys are already working on it. So I think that we'll have that delegation at AMO. But I'd like just that brought to mind what that whole, how they're going to close that road down, when they're going to close it down, how long they're going to close it down, and all that stuff. So I want to bring that forward. I came out of that. And also, I think as far as the Christian Farmers Association invitation to the annual barbecue, you're going to send a note out. We'd like to get a representative to go there, and to that, if we possibly can, from the council. So I think I might be able to go. We did last year, so I think it's nice of them to invite us, and we should have somebody go there. So those are the two items I had. Anybody else? Really?
Just a little disappointed to see that the Road Watch program was ending.
Yeah.
But with Crime Stoppers here today, that's important that people should continue to do it through there. So have the signs been taken down?
I don't think all of them.
Okay, they will be.
Yep.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I was on the committee when
that
we
happened.
initiated
Yeah, remember that. Yeah.
Really great idea.
Okay, so I have somebody move that they receive this correspondence for information. Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to make a comment on the accommodation review report. Even though none of our schools are really in the, they're not getting any attention right now on the accommodation review, which is probably fine. I was just really impressed with the quality of the questions and the respectful exchange of information and so on. And I just thought that was really nice, because I remember in the past with accommodation reviews, they sometimes weren't quite that way. And so anyways, I just wanted to say that I was really impressed with that report, even though it didn't really refer too much to us.
Right.
I thought it was a really good report. I didn't read it word for word with 650 other pages, but
yeah, I know it's been a long one.
But I did really want to say that I was just really impressed with that report.
So mover and a seconder for that. Jean, all in favor? Okay. And we have no committee minutes, staff reports, economic development. She's excited. It's quite a great report. I've been looking forward to you presenting this.
We'll add some spice.
Spice to it? Oh, excellent. Spice.
Spice it up.
Spice it up.
What camera are we on?
Oh, Bill's got to get the right camera. Okay.
Alrighty.
Welcome.
So
Busy day, busy year.
yes, it is. Well, this is supposed to be a year in review.
Yeah.
We're a little late on the year, so we decided to do a 2017-2018 to date because there has been so much going on. We've been really busy and didn't get around to doing an end of the year report. But just to recap, the role of economic development is to improve the economic well-being and quality of life of our communities. So these activities that we've highlighted, Taylor and I are going to tag team this, and we're going to go over all the stuff that we've been working on over the last year. We will not be touching on Launch It. Summer's here as part of our team, but she already gave her year in review presentation. Right. So we're not going to touch on Launch It, but Launch It is a part of our economic development programming, as you know.
It's on time.
Okay, over to you, Taylor. And Bill's going to be our Vanna changing slides, so yes. Perfect. All right.
Little spice in it.
Keep up. Okay, so just a quick overview of all the committees that we sit on. So there are 14 actual local committees. So of course our Economic Development Planning Committee, the 3 Downtown Revitalization Committees, Cultural Roundtable, more recently the Palmerston Railway Museum, which has seen lots of progress, especially in the past 2 years. Local heritage markers as well, Minto Youth Action Council, which you're all very familiar with. Launch at Minto. Now we just have the 1 Farmers Market Committee for Palmerston, and the Healthcare Professional Recruitment, Chamber of Commerce, Women of Wellington Saugeen Area, so WOWSA, the Lions Medical Center Board, and launching in October the 4th, the Northern Wellington Young Professionals, which will be in partnership with hopefully Wellington North, but Mapleton as of right now. Mm-hmm. So the majority of those committees, probably 90%, were responsible for agendas, minutes, aftercare, all that stuff. So that keeps us quite busy. We also sit on 10 regional committees, those being the Northern Wellington Joint Economic Development Group, Renew Northern Wellington, which is a not-for-profit corporation between us and Wellington North. We have the Butter Tarts and Buggies, which we'll touch on later, our Wellington County Municipal Economic Development Group, the Taste Real Partnership, the Economic Developers Council of Ontario. I sit on the Conference Planning Committee. We're also involved with Hawks Nest. Taylor's involved with the North for Youth, and we have a new partnership, Saugeen Connects, which we're going to touch on later. So back to last year, we are involved heavily with the Clifford Homecoming. I wrote for them a grant that was successful in receiving over $24,000 to help them with their festivities. Also assisted them in writing their marketing plan and helping them to implement, and facilitating the Clifford Downtown Revite Committee on their mural and the Local Heritage Marker Committee on the plaque. And so our Spark regional meeting that took place in Harrison at the library in February 2017. So Spark, so it's supporting performing arts in rural communities. So Gord is heavily involved with this. So there, a little bit of typo, there wasn't 70, that would have been great, but there were 40, so still a great turnout. Within
70 would have been tight in there.
Yeah, it would have been over capacity. So that was attendance within a 2-hour radius of Minto. So since then, we've had a regional committee that's formed with the base in Minto, since we have some awesome volunteers, especially Gord, who is pushing that forward. And so we are planning a conference again at the library in Harrison that will be taking place on Saturday, October 24th, I believe. Coming up this weekend, and hosted last year as well, the Harrison Street Party and Savor in the Street and the Street Dance, which got started in 2015 as a result of the Big Dig project. It's growing each year with lots of support, many groups taking part in it. This year, the Canada Packers reunion is a part of it. Last year there was over 100 people for Savor in the Street, and Summer says we're very close to 200 for this year. And last year we had almost 300 people for the street dance. So it's great to see the excitement that continues to happen around this event in Harrison. And so this past year in 2017 was the first year that we tried out doing a holiday shopping and event guide. Since we have so many events taking place during the holiday season, we thought, why not try to combine it and then include kind of a calendar of all the events that our community groups and organizations are putting on as well. So we had over 30 community events just, I guess, given to us within a couple weeks span. It was kind of a tight turnaround, so I can only imagine how many more we'll have this year. So that was a partnership with the Minto Chamber of Commerce and the Harrison and Palmerston Downtown Revitalization Committees. And then Clifford will also be involved in that this year, and they'll be working on a community event as well. So we had 7,000 copies mailed out. Everyone said that we need more, so we'll be looking into that this year. And yeah, so that also included kind of all the shopping passports for Ladies Night and the Palmerston Merchant Night and everything. So there was discussion at the downtown Revite committees to add more like promotions for shopping and the businesses, do some ads that way. So that's been a successful little project. And also a part of the Christmas stuff, we look after Light Up the Town and the Harrison Ladies Night. So this past year and the previous years, we've done the Tuesday before Ladies' Night. This year, we will be looking to team up with the fire department and have it on the Saturday night because of the falling of Remembrance Day. It's going to change the schedule a bit, so just watch for that. But we had over 100 people in attendance last year at Tannery Park and in the library with all the activities. Over 127 passports for Ladies' Night were submitted. We hosted a pop-up store at launch at Minto, and we had shoppers from all over the place coming downtown. It's a huge night for our merchants.
And in Palmerston, we had the Merchants Christmas Open House and Living Windows. So that's been an annual event that's been very successful, especially the Living Windows. We seem to draw in a lot of people for those. And this was the first year for the Light Up the Park event, which I think most of you were in attendance for. And it was fantastic. It was freezing, but there were a ton of people, close to like 400. And so we've totally had to kind of rethink the, I guess,
bigger speakers.
Yeah, bigger speakers, and just kind of spreading out the space to like have capacity to have everyone there. So that was a huge success, and we're looking forward to this year's.
Fire and Ice, we team up with the Minto Fire Department. This will be, I think, our third year coming up. Family-friendly New Year's Eve activity, hugely successful. And even though it was freezing cold last year and many venues canceled their outdoor events, we persevered and got it done. And it was a wonderful, wonderful event once again. We're looking forward to again this year.
And so the Minto's Farmers Market. So as I said, we don't have a Harrison Market anymore, which is unfortunate, but it's been great to put all of our efforts into one cohesive Minto Farmers Market, which is at the Palmerston Railway Museum. So vendors have been growing each year, mix of farmers, and we're seeing a lot more local artisans, which has been really great, and seeing them kind of connecting with local businesses. Like, for example, one of our artists, Just a Girl in Her Brush, she's putting all of her paintings in the new Mailbox Coffee downtown Harrison, so it's cool to see all these partnerships. We had 13 vendors in 2017. We actually have 17, not 16 now. We had another vendor start attending this past weekend, added an Instagram account, which has been really vibrant, and we've been doing the Market Bucks program, which is through the county and social services, which all our vendors have really loved, and it's great to see that most of those Market Bucks are going towards the produce vendors. Lots of successful events. The corn roast and corn on the cob eating contest, which you're all invited to, is on Saturday, August 25th at the Palmerston Fair. And last year it went really successful, so we're hoping for the same this year. And they've been doing really well financially, and they've been able to make donations to various groups this past year. So everything's good there. And there's also yoga in the park with Carrie Emmerman, which has been a nice little attraction in the Lions Park. So lots of things happening at the market.
The Railway Museum. So as we mentioned at the beginning, we've become heavily involved in the Railway Museum, and thanks to the county and their team for assisting us with a plan and implementation of that plan, and a great group of volunteers, especially Bob McEachran and Wayne Martin, Chad Martin, Susan. The whole group over there is very dedicated, passionate group of people, and we're lucky to have their knowledge for sure. We also have 3 students at the museum this summer. We had a grant that we were successful in receiving, and they've been busy cataloging and inventorying over 1,000 railway books, and they're just now starting the artifacts. Last year, we had over 900, almost 1,000 people last year through the museum last summer, which is a huge increase. And we also gave out 194 handcar rides and 34 train rides. The handcar races last year and this year have both been successful and raised approximately $3,000 each year. So we keep on doing that as a fundraiser for the museum.
I just stopped in and was talking to the students. There are over 1,000 people this year.
Yes, great.
So our Youth Action Council, so just quick overview of 2017. There were 9 members. They celebrated their first birthday and created kind of their first action plan, which came from feedback from the Link Day, which is the grade 9 orientation day at Norwell, and some surveys throughout the town to get a better idea what youth would like to see, just so that it's not just the MyAct like members choosing what the events are, trying to get a bigger scope. They installed their Youth Should Know community boards in the arenas, which has been great. They've met with a ton of different community groups. So they've kind of been turning into, like, they're still the Action Council, but a lot more kind of consulting and working with these groups to provide their suggestions and perspective. And then this year we actually had like 15 members, and 10 that I would say are consistently active, always coming to the meetings, and others coming when they can and showing up to different events. We had the grad prom dress swap pop-up shop, which is a mouthful, which was also really successful. They created their first terms of reference, which was a good project to go through. And they have their new youth space, which is in Launch It, that they all really enjoy. And we've also consulted with the City of Stratford, Centre Wellington, and Perth East about starting youth action councils. So they've come to attend meetings, kind of tour the space. So that's been really fun for the whole group. And if you all remember at the volunteer dinner, Jason Cranny was very gung-ho to see us present at the Parks and Recreation Ontario MBA Symposium in October. So we will be doing that, which is exciting. So myself, Gabby, Megan Raptis, our other adult ally, and Trish Wake from Mapleton are all working on a joint presentation to talk about North for Youth, Youth Action Councils in Northern Wellington, and really just trying to bring tips and suggestions on a successful rural, keyword rural, youth action council, since that really hasn't been touched yet. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah, and kudos to Taylor and the crew on that, because really youth action councils weren't really a thing. So she's had to develop this from scratch, and to be able to be leaders once again and teaching other places how to do it successfully is really cool.
And we also had our second annual Northern Wellington Youth Connections event, which is partnership with Mapleton and Wellington North. This was held in Mount Forest. So we basically doubled in attendance for this event. And instead of grade 10 students, we had grade 9 students, which we found was a lot more successful, a lot more eager to hear what the speakers had to say. And so the sessions focus on entrepreneurship, trades, mental health, wellness, resume writing, and the future, like working in Wellington and seeing the opportunity there. So that's been a really interesting project to work on with the high schools, and they've found a lot of benefit from that. So we'll be planning that during Youth Week again this coming May.
In terms of WOWSA, this is our Women in Business group. I believe we're entering our 10th season. It's hard to believe. And in 2017-2018, we expanded into Hanover, and it's looking like this season we may have another expansion to announce shortly. We've expanded our partnerships with different groups and have offered some new programming as well. We continue to work with the RISE project through Innovation Guelph, which is their kind of element of women in business. I act as a judge on their RISE awards, and this year Caitlin Hall from Reroute Organic actually was successful in receiving $4,000 through the RISE project.
And for Butter Tarts and Buggies, in 2017 Mapleton joined, and in 2018 Westgrade joined, and the three original municipalities that were part of that were obviously Minto, Wellington North, and Southgate. So now we have 5, which has been really great. Created our own little tourism region, and there are 11 Minto businesses within Butter Tarts and Buggies. Instagram account was launched, and now we've changed that membership is free. So we waived that and kind of locked in for 2 years, just to keep kind of some consistency, less turnover, which has been great so far. There was also a little shout out article in the New York Times about Butter Tarts and Buggies, which was really interesting. And now we're just kind of focusing on narrowing down businesses and just trying to be more authentic and stick with the branding. So that's been a fun project. And the Fall Frolic is also happening October 13th to 15th this year. So we had 20 participating businesses last year, and we have about 30 this year so far, and there's approximately 500 people in attendance. It's kind of difficult to track since there's so many places, but that's a rough estimate.
In terms of business development, we continue to implement our business retention expansion survey. So back in 2016, if you recall, Summer and I did 47 business surveys and continue to work through implementing the actions that came out of that. In terms of entrepreneurship development, we have our Pitch It Business Plan competition. So we had 4 finalists, both in 2017 and 2018, and really exciting. This past week, Mailbox Coffee, one of the finalists, opened in the Old Post. So their grand opening is this Saturday. And then Dr. Sean McDonald is preparing to open at the end of this month, too. So if you've checked out his Facebook page, he has some great photos of the new renovated Lions Medical Clinic. So we've been actively involved in assisting all of those businesses get started. Renew Northern Wellington, we had 2 openings in Minto last year, and we have more people applying. Right now where we're at is we're looking for vacant properties to sign on to offer properties through the Renew program. But there's so much going on right now in terms of inquiries for new businesses getting started in our downtowns. It's extremely exciting times. Saugeen Connects is a new partnership that we just launched a couple of months ago, the end of June. It's partnering with Hanover, Wellington North, Brockton, West Grey, and obviously the Saugeen Economic Development Region. We launched succession matching through that program, and we received RED funding for the next 2 years. I believe it's over $30,000. So it's a over $60,000 project that's only costing us $5,000. So that's pretty exciting. Looking at immigration in terms of bringing people here to start businesses, as well as workforce, women in business, youth, and the succession component. In terms of the planning and infrastructure piece, we administer our community improvement plan. In 2017, we gave out over $70,000 in grants, and that resulted in property owners spending over $251,000. So that's a pretty good leverage rate. And we're seeing the fruits of our labor. If you were at the property launch event 2 weeks ago, I guess, with Gurmeet, he is got job postings up on our Live and Work portal for the new sports bar and then the cafe ice cream parlor. We've shown people Mr. Wells building as well, and now John Medill's building on that block is also now under construction. And all of this action is directly because of our structural grant program. So that's really exciting to see this stuff happening.
Okay, so for community revitalization, everyone's familiar with Clifford this summer and the Clifford Dang It kind of campaign. So we've been actively assisting the business community through communication, marketing, everything on social media, their passports, promotions. We've gone out handing out gift cards just to thank shoppers who are downtown during construction and just encourage more shopping, supporting the businesses. And Belinda attends the biweekly construction meetings, and really it's all hands on deck trying to help the businesses as much as we can. The Cool Cones Public Art Project, which I'd say is one of the biggest public art projects that we've done. It's been really cool. It's the Cultural Roundtable and the Harrison Downtown Revitalization Committee. They were trying to think of something just to stop that traffic rolling through Harrison, just something that make them stop, get out of their cars, and check out downtown. So they thought of ice cream, and then it would be perfect to tie into the Canada Packers reunion. So there's 10 cones, and 9 of those cones ended up being painted by local artists, which was interesting because we put the call out kind of everywhere, but it was pretty special to have like our own residents kind of painting the cones. And also really cool, it's resulted in one business starting to offer ice cream, being Evergreen Variety, and then 2 businesses opening, so Magic Ice Cream Shop, so solely based on the Cool Cones Public Art, and then Mailbox Coffee is now offering ice cream as well, with Mapleton Organics, keeping it local there, so it's cool to see what's kind of stemmed from that project. And for the social media, so with voting for the People's Choice Award, it's been like the best performing Facebook post that we've had, I think ever, at least the past 4 years that I've been here, with like over 1,000 likes, comments, shares, and everything. So it's been interesting to see the feedback and people getting involved and taking part of it. So we've also had several murals. So we had a mural for the Clifford Homecoming through our local Heritage Markers Committee, the mural in Harrison through the Harrison DRC Committee, and then I think you're all familiar with the mural that Norwell put on the courts in Palmerston, the Lions Heritage Park, and that the Cultural Roundtable helped with that project by giving them a $500 grant. And Roger Brooks, the Review and Renewed Action Plan. So in November 2017, Roger Brooks came through the county to Fergus. So a bunch of business owners and Belinda and myself went to see his presentation. And then we were able to bring him up to Palmerston at the Norgan in April. And since then, the Downtown Revitalization Committees have just completely reprioritized their action plans. Everything's revamped, a lot more creative ideas for downtowns and focusing on branding. So lots of exciting things to come once our meetings start back up in September.
Community gardens, if you didn't know, we're also responsible for administering those. Paul Judge is responsible for being the hands-on guy, making sure the dirt and the water and all that's there, but we're on the background taking the bookings for those, making sure, taking the complaints. We're like the complaint department sometimes. In Clifford, we have 10 beds. They're all full. In Hairston, 23 all full. And in Palmerston, we have 20 beds. All plots are full, which is the first time that we've had that. So it's very exciting. Great uptake by the community for those. As you recall, last year we also had to be reevaluated in the Communities in Bloom program, where we were scored 87.7%, so close to getting gold. But that is up from our 2013 score, and we did get special mention for the Green Legacy program. So we're not due to be reevaluated again until 2021, so we have some time to become gold. We are heavily involved in healthcare in terms of recruitment committee. We're always there with Allison and Shirley, meeting the new residents coming through, putting packages together, providing them with our resident prospectus pieces, anything that we can do to showcase Minto. And we've been quite successful, as you've heard from their presentations, in attracting some people. And Dr. Chu was directly one of the people that we met with and welcomed her to the community. So that's paying off. We are working with education services. We have a great relationship with Norwell and the principal there, as well as some key teachers, also the Career Education Council, getting into the schools, finding out and letting them know what jobs are in demand. It's really key. Partnering with a local immigration partnership. We know immigration is going to be so important to rural communities. And so working with them, as well as Tom Lucis at the County of Wellington, making sure our employers recognize the value of immigration and what they need to do to be ready to accept those people. And our Filipino group, last June, we hosted our barbecue with them, and we're working on our editorials that are going in the newspapers in Toronto to bring some of them. The page is now up on our new website, and our YouTube videos up, so we're going to be doing targeted YouTube videos to the Filipino communities and try and draw more Filipino workers here specifically. Workforce obviously continues to be a challenge, not just here in Minto, but across the board now. Our unemployment rate is below 4%, full unemployment. I think I've mentioned this multiple times. So we continue to work on this. In April, worked with Summer and the Workforce Planning Board on hosting the Show Me the Workers event. Brought in key panelists to speak to businesses about what they could do, had resources there. A lot of times businesses don't know what's available for them to access people. We were involved with bringing the school within a factory program here, and they've had 7 graduates, with 2 more coming, and 3 from TG Minto, and 1 of those is from Palmerston. Our jobs and housing portal, our employers are continuing to post on there. We have had an increase, lots of page views, and doing radio and social media campaigns to continue to push traffic there.
So for our alumni attraction, this year we did something different. So our Economic Development Planning Committee, we were all trying to brainstorm and come up with new ideas to actually engage more with the graduating class instead of just a like bursary. So we decided to host a graduation luncheon to give us a chance to actually meet these students, congratulate them on almost graduating. And we did this with the help of the Palmerston Lions Club, who put on an awesome barbecue at Norwell. This was in partnership with Mapleton Township, and Mayor Bridge was a big driver in this, so thank you. And we also created videos of our mayors and youth sharing what they like about Minto and like why they would think to come back later on, so that's been really good feedback. And we will also be gifting the students with notebooks at Norwell's commencement in November. So some have seen a sneak peek and they're all excited about it, so it's good.
Our Economic Development Committee, one of our priorities this year is the residential side, and part of that was hosting a Realtors and Developers Breakfast. So we hosted that in the late spring, early summer with our developers and realtors, and we got some great insights on who's moving here, what they're looking for, and they're all keen to do some joint marketing efforts. So in 2019, we're looking forward to partnering with them on launching some new marketing materials, drawing more people up here. And we're going to be hosting a welcome reception for new residents in Palmerston in September, and we'll move those around and have one for the other communities as well, but that's where we're going to start. Our department has also been brought in recently to help entice some of these developers to come here. So I was happy to be involved with both Right Haven Homes and the Harrison Heights projects, and continue to work with these developers as well as other developers in promoting their subdivisions, their housing, whatever we can do to help them spread the word. We are here to help that. In terms of investment traction, you all know 2017 was a big year, and thanks to my partner in real estate, Terry, for all his help. We sold 8 lots. Felix and Bernice building on Frank Lambier Court, happy to announce that it is now filled up. Grant and Amy Habermill, as you know, they're going to be expanding their business. Alfred, he was here, he had to leave. His business is getting ready to get going. Shrimp Canada has their building permit set to go. Krasinski will be coming up here shortly to meet with his contractor or builder, I guess, Terry. Sean Wheel on Minto Road, his building is about 1/3 full right now. We helped Jim Horgan fill his building on Frank Lambier Court, and Metzger Heating will be starting their building on Noble Family Road this spring. So it's been extremely busy in terms of that stuff, which is great, and you all know we are going to be servicing more land. In terms of marketing and communications, we present to a lot of different communities. You're all well aware of that. But 2017, 2018 has been a really big year. In April 2017, I presented at the OSAM conference. We presented at the Saugeen Economic Development Success Barbecue, the OMAFRA Downtown Communities of Practice, the Bruce County Economic Development event in January, which then resulted in us presenting to Erin Elderslie Council in January, and them hiring now an economic development officer. Spoke to the Minto Chamber AGM. In February, Gordon and I spoke at the Ministry of Culture Heritage Makes Sense conference. In April, the OMAFRA regional advisors came up to launch it to see the work that we're doing here. In May, I went to Strathroy to present to them. Also in May, we were at the University of Waterloo talking about Launch It and the work of Launch It as a rural incubator. There are not a lot of rural incubators, and once we started with it, 2 out of the 3 we visited have closed. So Launch It is a real success story and continues to be looked upon. It's now part of a research project being done by the University of Waterloo and read right now. We've also provided economic development staffing advice to the town of Hanover, the municipality of Brockton, the municipality of Elderslie, and the municipality of Grey Highlands. So we're pretty proud of what we're doing here and happy to help other rural municipalities as well.
Right, and then for more marketing communications with our social media, we've grown a lot in Facebook. We really have an active online community in Minto, which is really great to see. Lots of good feedback. So there's about 1,890 likes and some more actual followers. Twitter, there's 1,328 followers. Instagram, 688, and it's only a year old, so that's been booming since then. It's already, like, I checked, 706 today. So it's growing fast, and it's nice kind of tapping into the younger demographics that way too. We have our YouTube channel with 67 subscribers and thousands and thousands of video views, and LinkedIn. I've created a new business profile. We'll connect that to Live and Work portal to see if we can kind of connect more workers that way. And then also managing social media for the Youth Action Council, Butter Tarts and Buggies, Minto Farmers Market, and the Northern Wellington Young Professionals Network. And then we also help out Gabby with the North for Youth page. So no shortage on social media, definitely very present. So it's all been really good. And we had a social media survey just to kind of get an idea of what our community would like to see. And so 112 of the respondents rated our social media 4 out of 5 stars. So we're on the right track, which is really great. And so I'm also currently working on updating the social media policy, which was implemented in 2013, but there's definitely lots of updating that needs to happen there. So that's in the works. You can go to the next slide.
Bill, next slide.
Bill, sorry.
Mayor was distracting me.
I distracted him.
So as you all know, we have We have a brand new website, which took a long time to do, but I think it's well worth it. We're really happy with it, so we hope you are too. So we just launched that about a month ago. We removed our Minto ED site and integrated all that information into the new website, which has gone well so far. And we also have a new community profile through Townfolio, which shares all sorts of statistics data all about the community. So it's easily accessible for residents and potential entrepreneurs, people looking to start businesses, which is really helpful. Very exciting this year. Again, you all know this, but we became a gold status youth-friendly community in the province of Ontario. So that was a huge job. Really great that we had over 30 community groups and organizations assisting, providing information. Either information for different sections or providing letters of support. It was all really overwhelming. It was really great. So that was a really good experience. And so through that, we're recognized for outstanding commitment to providing youth with opportunities to be active contributors to the community through those criteria.
And in February, I was recognized with the Joseph Montgomery Award for Achievement in Economic Development, but I don't see this as an award for myself. I see it as an award for our team. Taylor, Summer, Council, everybody that works in Minto. We couldn't do what we do without the support of the people around us. And so this award, I don't think, is just for me. It's for everybody. And so thank you all for your support of our department. And hopefully you're happy with the stuff that we're doing in the community. We didn't take up too much time.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah. Is all I can say. You guys, you should be so proud of yourself. I'm tearing up because I'm proud to sit here listening to it. But we got to get this out there. I know we're on TV today, but we've got to let our residents know what is going on in Minto. What half of what this stuff is, they'd be so impressed. Well, how do we get it out to our residents to let them know what we're doing here? Because this is wonderful.
I think Taylor's doing a great job on our social media stuff and continuing to maybe take this information.
A lot of our residents are in that
senior.
Yeah.
I'm one of them.
Is the number one on their priority.
Right. Well, our friends in the press, right? Here. I'm sure Mike and Pat are on TV watching. But we have a pretty good relationship with our press, and so they're pretty good at publishing these things. It's just like when you see it all together, like even for us, it's like we know that we're busy, but when we start to put down, there's things I'm even thinking of now, like the lion sign that's taken a lot of time.
I guess what I'm saying is there any way that we could do some sort of little booklet, like I don't know what the cost would be.
Yeah, we've done that in the past actually.
We say this is our year in review, and
actually we have done that. Yeah. So we can take this and put it into a booklet. We've done that in the past and mailed it out to all the households.
Yeah, I think that's
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it was a full color gloss.
Congratulations to the entire committee. You're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Ron?
Just quickly, I'm a board member for OSM, and you presented there on behalf of your group. All I can say is it was wonderful. A lot of them talked to you after, tried to steal you away.
Yep.
Wanted you to do our business, and they've been up until that part. They've been holding it over your head and teasing the hell out of me about this small town of Minto. We got people from Blue Mountain, Innisville, Niagara on the Lake, and you blew them away with what we do here. Yeah. And you know what those people have and what they have to offer. You prove to them we got much more to offer, and it's because of people like yourselves that have done that. And I sure appreciated it. And we still talk about that.
Thank you.
Just to sum up what Ron's saying, a couple of those times we went up to Brockton, we went up to a few of them. I went along with her because exactly what happens. I mean, I can't trust them to have her there. and she does the presentations, and they want to talk to her afterwards. And if I'm there, I can control that somewhat. But again, if you look at the people that have come up, and Ron's made the point, the people that come up to us in both Minto and look at us as an example of how you can do it in a small town. But I'll tell you, it was this passed two councils in the council before. that basically could see the vision and bring the people on. And your programs are only as good as the people.
Mhm.
And you've got great people in your
Absolutely.
department now. I know Taylor's done an excellent job of coming in, and she started as a part timer and worked her way in. So, and you're doing stuff that you weren't going to go to school for.
No.
But now I believe you just graduated or just got your first year in at economic development in Waterloo.
Yep. Mhm.
So again, like we can adjust and
We have a great team.
great team, and the councils have been very supportive. And again, the best flattery is people want to copy the world, and we've done that. And I'm always so proud of going out, and Ron talks about it. We hear it at AMO, we hear it everywhere, and I know the councilors hear it too. And I think what we do is hit it right on the head. We have to better sell it to our own people, tell us what our investment and what great results we've got from our investment. And I think a booklet makes sense. Something to get it out there. Yeah.
Well, and
The people over 50.
Yeah.
one of the things too that people are always saying, like, why are you investing in
Yes.
community gardens, or why are you doing farmers markets? Why are you doing this and that? And if you don't have those things, like people right now are moving from Guelph, Kitchener, Orangeville, right? If you don't have those things, we're competing with the other communities around us, and we're looking really good. So those that just are continuing to invest in infrastructure, that's not going to attract people, right? You have to have that, but you need to have those things that
Quality of life.
they want, right? So I think that's important. I think
Great.
that's.
Well, thanks very much.
Thank you. Sorry we took so long.
Now, we have a thing at 5. Would it be all right if everybody, if we move Linda up? Because I know, are you? You know what? Yeah, well, and then you can, if you want to head out, Linda, if that's all right with everybody. Move
Sure.
Linda up number 9. Okay, because then we have to go into a couple. What do we got, Bill?
Well, we got, yes, we have public meetings.
Public meetings, which we'll do at 5. So if you want to come up, then we'll get you done, and and Cam is to be next, and then we'll go to our public meeting. Great.
Trying to confuse you.
That's okay.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You
It's
know,
nice to see you here, and when we don't have a flood. That's good. Any other problems, locusts
had to say it, right?
or whatever we could have next. We don't know.
no,
It's going to be a hard
it's been
act to
beautiful.
follow, though.
It's been beautiful. Alrighty. Just very briefly, my annual report, so I will be brief. I know you're very familiar with the reports, just outlining what we've done in terms of the required elements for 2018 in the report. The committee met on March 22nd. Something new that we're doing this year, I've talked with the clerks, and we probably should have been doing it some time ago. There is a copy of the minutes of the program committee attached to the report, so you can take a look at that, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. The emergency response plan, we're not proposing any changes this year, but we're planning to do a major review and probably look at a new updated version of it sometime in 2019. Training for the members of the control group. We do other training as well for support staff and everyone else, but the required training changed a little bit this year, and there were some elements that were specifically requested by the province for us to look at. And we did that training on July 26th. So that's now complete. And you can see there in items 1 to 4, the additional training that we're also have done or will be doing in the fall as well. We ran our annual emergency management exercise, and we sort of build up to exercises over 4 years. And this was, I know it was a bigger exercise than what we had even contemplated and took more time than what we expected. But I think at the end, it was a functional exercise involving all the municipalities at once, and there were some good outcomes. And we did attach a copy of that after action report to this report as well. Basically looking at communications and our forms that we're using in the EOC, and those were the 2 big ones that we really tested, and we got some good outcomes from the exercise as a result of that. Public education, one of the main ones was Safe Kids Day, which we generally attend with that Minto Fire puts on every year, and we were at that on May 4th, and a number of other items, and I did omit the May 22nd open house that we had, so that should be included in here, and we'll be having that follow-up meeting in open house in November as well too, as part of our public education both related to the after action report from the 2017 flood, as well as some items from the National Disaster Mitigation Program funding that we received. And then finally, we're updating our critical infrastructure, and that's an annually thing that we do every year. So that covers our report for 2018.
Questions for Linda?
Any questions?
I'll read the motion. The council receives the emergency manager's CEMC's annual emergency management report for 2018. Accepts the report on the status of the town's emergency management program for 2018. Okay. Deputy Mayor Faulkner, all in favor? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Happens
Thanks.
first.
Thank
That
you.
was bad.
Even sleeping.
Lifetime dog tags. We'll do Cam before we get into the public meetings or the.
Just go.
Come on up and get done.
I'll try and make mine quicker than
The
other ones.
Well, this is an exciting report. I think it's great.
You should get Netflix.
There you go.
You're a pretty exciting guy.
Anyways, the dog tags over the years, every year we've purchased around 1,300 tags. We end up throwing out some because we stamp the year on them, and it takes a lot of time to match these dog tags up with the invoices and get them mailed out to the right people. So what we're looking at doing is going to the lifetime tag. In order to do that, we need to change just a couple of small sentences, just small changes in sentences like C4 reads every dog tag shall bear a dog tag number and the year in which it was issued. It's just a matter of changing that. Every dog tag shall bear a license number as issued and kept on the dog as long as the dog resides in Minto and the tag is still legible. And then the other one, it just says if the dog tag is lost, so we would change it lost or becomes illegible. And then that would enable us to go to these tags. The cool thing is the tags, and Terry would know this, you guys probably give them out at the vet's office. They have the QR code on them so they can find them. So we've looked into this SOS Lost Pets. The tags are a little more expensive, but and you can see the pictures of them there, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The tags are a little more expensive, but you're going to leave that tag on the dog for a long period of time. So if you do lose the tag, you'd be issued a new tag. It's up to the owner to register their tag with SOS. So if the tag is lost, somebody can scan the dog tag, scan the QR code, and it comes up with the dog's name and contact information for the dog owner. So you can get a hold of the owner and let them know. Or there's a toll-free number they can call that number, and then it's sent out. The call is forwarded to the dog owner. It's also sent out with text messages and by email. And if the dog is missing, you can also go on the SOS website and put out an Amber Alert for your dog. So it's going to help dog owners get the dogs back quicker. So that's all I got.
So I have a couple questions on this. So first of all, these dog tags, I'm hoping they're a lot tougher than what we've been handing out because they keep getting smaller.
I have
and
one,
wimpier.
and I forgot to bring it out with me. It's Terry's tag. And what it is that it's an aluminum tag, and then it's got a heavy epoxy coating on it. So like in the picture, it'll have the Minto logo on it and the QR code on the back. So I think they're probably more durable than the aluminum tags that we've used in the past.
Another question. What is do we know what the cost is going to be to the dog owner?
$1 for the tag.
$1?
For the tag?
Yes.
Yeah, we're not changing the licensing fees. These tags are a little more expensive than what we purchased.
Oh,
in
so
the
we're still going to
past.
invoice every year.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're still getting
Sorry.
invoiced.
you don't buy a lifetime fee.
No, it's going to be invoiced.
My dog's
the same as
14.
it
I don't
always
really
has
want to
been,
buy a
but
$200
these-
tag.
With the savings are going to be from not
I
the
got
time
it.
spent
Okay.
and not buying tags.
Sorry, I got it.
But that is my question.
Yeah.
If they don't pay the invoice, they'll still have the tag, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But then,
As they do now.
as they do now,
Sure.
And, we put on the
Yeah.
taxes, really? What if they don't have the dog anymore? Then they give you.
Then-
Oh. Okay. Oh, I didn't know.
so it won't change our overall cost. I mean, it might a little be additional cost to get it started because the tags are a bit more, but it actually will save us 50 hours.
In the long run. It's
long
going
run.
to save time stuffing envelopes, and then we're not going to be purchasing. I think it costs us over $400 a year to buy tags as it is. This is going to cost us a lot more, but we're not going to be purchasing tags every year. So in the long run, we will save money on it.
Sounds good.
I'm just kind of thinking, so cost recovery probably is in the first couple of years then, by the sound of that.
No.
You think it'll take longer than that?
It will be. It will be.
Oh, you think it'll take longer than a couple
these
years?
tags are going to last.
Yep.
I would say for the lifetime of the dog or close to it.
Yeah.
And there's still, if your dog's still alive and the tag is illegible or lost, then you're responsible to purchase a new tag to replace it.
Yep. Just like now.
Yep.
All right, and I think I have that here somewhere. All right, there. That the council of the town of Minto receives the bylaw officer's July 31st, 2018 report regarding a lifetime dog tags and considers an amending to the bylaw in open session. All in favor? Yep. Mover and seconder. I didn't move.
Sure, I'll move.
All in favor? Go. Good. All right, well, that's official
Losing
now.
your touch there.
That's got to be official now, yeah. All right, so are we going to go into the
Public meeting.
Okay, we're going to go into the public meetings now. When I get back to my public meeting. Yes. There you go. It's in. I'm supposed to say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Go back up to the public meetings. Up here. First one. All right. Okay, this is a public meeting to consider the Minto and Normanby Town Line Brubaker ZBA 2018-06-5543. A public meeting to consider the amendment of the Town of Minto zoning bylaw number 0186 for the property located at 5543 Minto, Normanby Town Line, Town of Minto. I'll act as the chair for the public meeting. I'll call the meeting to order and request any member of the public present to please sign the attendance record. Anybody coming for that one? Have you signed it, Karen? Excellent.
And have you guys signed it?
Is it? You're not on this one. You're on the next
you're not on the next one. Okay, sorry.
One of them is.
Okay, call the meeting to order and request any member of the public. Yes, sorry about that. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at the public meeting or make written submissions to the town of Minto before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of town of Minto to the local planning appeal tribunal, and the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of the appeal before the tribunal unless, in the opinion of the board, there's reasonable grounds to do so. I'll ask CAO Clerk White to state the municipal address, legal description of the public property, the person effect of the application, and the date notes were sent.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. Property is located at part lot 33 and 34, concession 17, part lot 34, concession 18. The address 5543 Minto, Normanby Town Line. Purpose of the proposed amendment is to rezone the lands from agricultural exception 96 to agricultural commercial. The existing zoning currently permits a 301.9 square meter home industry corn plater meter repair attached to an agricultural structure. The applicant is proposing to expand the corn plater planter business and construct up to 1,393 square meters of building on approximately 0.68 hectares. Notice was mailed to landowners within 400 feet or 120 meters of the property and applicable agencies July 18th, posted on the lands. Comments were received from the town Minto staff. Building assistant's report is attached, and she is here tonight. Curtis Marshall, senior planner, and Jessica Wilson, junior planner, County of Wellington, and their report is attached, and Curtis is here tonight. And Michael Oberly of the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority, and their report is attached as well.
Now call on the applicant or his agent to provide comments regarding the proposed amendment. I don't know if the applicant is here.
Yeah, right there.
Yes, right there. Please, would you like to?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Did you sign in? Did
You haven't signed the sheet yet.
No. Okay, would you please sign the sheet first? Yeah. Okay, that's why you. Yeah. Oh, he's listening to me today. Ask them if they signed the sheet. I know. You know he's listening. I heard you. Questions? Oh, good. I didn't write that. Okay. Let's Mr. Brubaker. Come on up, and if you want to stand or sit, just either way. Just state your name and for the record.
Pardon me.
Just state your name for the record.
So my name is Leon Brubaker. Leon, yeah. So I am the applicant of this.
Perfect. Thanks, Leon. Did you just want to go over what you got any comments you want to make on the property, or how it starts? So.
Yeah. So I guess I'm not maybe exactly sure where I should start or end or what all I should.
Well,
cover,
there might be questions back and forth, so just give us an overview, and then if there's questions, we can.
Sure. So we had started with meter repair work in the back room in our garage at home.
Right.
And in 2012, we built a shop, which is what you had read that we had the minor variance, I guess, for. We have been doing more business, as most years we have increased in business, and have started bringing planners into the shop that we have there, which at the time that we built that shop, we weren't sure whether that would happen or wouldn't happen, and if we knew it did, we should have built it bigger at that time, I guess, right. But that's hindsight. And so what we're faced with now is that the shop size that we have, if we bring in a complete planner, and most of these planners are 40 feet to 60 feet wide, and we put air carts behind them for fertilizer, and our shop is just on the small side. And so we went around the circle probably 4 or 5 times as to, should we build a separate shop bigger somewhere? Should we add to this one? Should we try to use what we have? And we've kind of, for now, I guess, come up with that we would stay with the shop, the building structure that we have, which in addition to the shop that's on that variance, there's a 50-foot wide by 96-foot drive shed that was just agricultural drive shed. Our thoughts at this time would be if we could, line that one out, insulated, heated, and use that as commercial shop, and that would, in the next number of years, we can see business may stay where it is now. It might plateau out and stay where it is. Then that's probably workable. And if not, then we'd have a better idea of what direction we should be going at that time.
Right. And if there's anything to add? Any questions for Ruben?
I do. The rectangle going out to the road. I'm not sure I understand the purpose of that shape.
Okay, so just to clarify that a bit, it is when we're doing this. So in 2012 we went through the minor variance. Today I'm here with this application. Is how often do I come back and say I want another 1,000 square feet or 2,000 or whatever? Is just trying to look into the future, and it's very foggy. I'm going to admit that right away. I don't know what it's going to look like, but that would allow us to, if we felt that we needed addition in the future, to build in addition to that, and then have a yard area towards the road with a separate laneway access to keep to keep the farm building sites more separate from the shop. I guess I look, my oldest boys are 21 and 19 now. And, if I think 10 years down the road or 15, if one of them wants to farm and the other wants to look after shop, they might want it a bit more separate than what it is now.
Then can I direct then my next question to Terry?
Or we're going to have the other Terry and Terry and Michelle's.
Well, no, it has in relation to that very specific thing that I was referring to.
Okay.
So if that building was to be expanded to there, would the applicant have to come back for another building permit? Or
building permit for sure, but he could construct within that red area a separate shop of the max square footage that he's proposing of the 15,000.
Okay, thank you.
Or it can be an addition onto as well.
Okay. Thank you.
You want to just sit right there, and if there's more questions, then we can, because we're going to bring up. I think Michelle, are you doing it? Were you going to make your report? And Curtis, you'd like to come up together and give your report, and then what questions?
Sure.
Only one person can talk at the same time.
Yes.
That's how we.
Well, and I apologize for dropping my stuff when I came in the door. That's
I didn't notice
way
that.
To make an entrance there, drop all your stuff.
Very grand.
Yeah,
the rest of
very
us
grand.
noticed it.
I wanted to get note.
I must have been very concentrating on something, so I didn't notice it.
Yes, well, good. Hopefully, it made it on the TV. So maybe I can just give a brief rundown of the application, and if Michelle has any comments too, if that works to add on. I did up a few brief notes here, and all right. So the subject property is designated as prime agricultural, core greenlands, and greenlands in the county plan. As identified, the property is currently zoned agricultural and natural environment and has a site-specific exception that allows a home industry for a corn planter business to occupy up to 302 square meters, which is 3,250 square feet of the existing drive shed. And that dates back, as Mr. Brubaker said, to 2012. So the applicant has proposed to expand, or has requested the ability to expand their corn planter business up to a total of 15,000 square feet on 1.7 acres of the property. Now the applicant has indicated that their immediate plans would be to utilize all of the existing drive shed for the corn planting business, and this would give them 724.5 square meters or 7,800 square feet on approximately one acre. And as mentioned, the existing business occupies 302 square meters, which is 3,250 square feet of that drive shed presently. They would then have, in terms of the request for a total of 15,000 square feet and 1.7 acres, there would be an additional 7,200 square feet and 0.7 acres that would be available for future expansion. Planning staff note that the provincial policy and the county plan both allow for on-farm businesses and also for standalone agriculture-related uses in the prime agricultural area, however, subject to specific criteria and local zoning standards. As outlined in our report, planning staff have requested some additional information from the applicant to assist us with the review of the application and the determination if the proposed use is appropriate as an agricultural commercial use in the zoning bylaw, is compatible, and is of appropriate size and scale. Going forward, my review will focus on the request for the additional square footage above and beyond the existing building and one acre of land that's currently available. The applicant has responded. I should note today that we received from Mr. Brubaker some additional information responding to the questions that we posed, and I thank him for that information, and we'll be taking that back to assist us in completing our review and preparing a final recommendation. So at this point, my suggestion is that we would aim to bring back a final recommendation report and a final draft zoning bylaw for council's consideration at the next council meeting, which I believe is in early September.
September 4th, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I was asking right away, I was looking at some of those questions. I didn't know if you guys had talked about those questions. So we just continue on with the Michelle. Anything you had, Michelle?
Well, we just wanted to know that staff meet internally, and we had no serious concerns. Mr. Brubaker, as he said, has come forward already once and paid his dues. He's come back a second time and would prefer not to have to come back a third. And given what he's said to us, we were quite happy with the expansion that he was proposing, with the idea that it may not actually happen, but he has two young boys, and said that he would be happy for now to go with the 1 acre to meet his needs expanding into the existing building, but would like us to be able to consider his future expansion, not having to come forward again. We noted no serious concerns for that. We were approval.
Okay, and I think we have, Karen, did you want to speak to this as well? Just hang on for a second, but if I follow the protocol, if you guys could step back, I'll ask anybody commenting in favor of the post as well. Is anybody commenting on it other than Mr. Brubaker has already made his comments? Wait.
That questions to come in.
Yeah. And then maybe I will call on anybody that wants to comment on the opposition to the proposed amendment. Karen, you wanted to make some comments, I believe.
My name's Karen Wagner, and our family lives directly east of this property. And we have some concerns about the size of the expansion. We're questioning whether prime agricultural land should be used for what to us seems more an agricultural industrial expansion. He's going from 3,200 square feet to 15,000, which is a considerable increase. He's asking for a new laneway in that red area. We're concerned about more increased trucks on the road. Our roads department comes down frequently to fill potholes. We're questioning whether or not, a new road is going to have to be constructed in the future. But primarily as a long-term resident of the township, it's concerning to see prime agricultural land going to be used for what I think could be considered industrial as opposed to just primarily agricultural.
Any questions for Aaron? Thank you. Then, the way I read it, we're going to defer this at this point. We don't have a bylaw on this one anyways. So, is that Curtis what you'd like? Okay. Would you like to go? I'll get the council to ask have you got any questions at this point that you have, Mary Lou?
No, that was my question. Was Mr. Brubaker okay with that?
Well, I can ask that. I think it's probably to his best interest that we take back the questions, and we just had this conversation today. So what basically we're going to be doing is coming back on September 4th with some of these concerns, and Aaron brought a couple of concerns, but they're more of planning issues that I'm sure that the county will take into consideration as far as the planning part of it, but getting agricultural land, industrial, commercial. I mean, I think this fits into the zoning requirements, is it not?
To respond to the question, Mr. Mayor, yeah, we would propose to come back with a final review, speaking to the neighbors' concerns, reviewing the information from Mr. Brubaker.
Coming back with, is that all right with you, Mr.
And back with the bylaw.
To the 4th. Yeah, sorry, thanks for that. Okay, thank you. Okay, so if that's the case, we'll just do a deferral and come back on the 4th, and we'll hopefully have a full report from the county and make a decision at that point in time. Thank you. So I will now notify the decision of the council of town in respect to the proposed. So it's basically a deferral.
You need a motion?
We need a motion to defer it, I guess. Moved by Ron, seconded by Dave. All in favor?
Okay, Mayor Bridge, just for procedural, we'll give notice of the deferral to the people who signed here, so they'll receive notice. It probably won't be 2 weeks ahead of time, but it'll be as soon as we can get it out before the meeting. Just assuming it comes back on September 4th, it'll come out sometime in August. Probably be delivered to the house or.
Okay. Good. Excellent. Okay, so that one is done. Next one up is public meeting to consider amendment ZBA 2018-07 5411 7th line Wasnik. Wasnik. Public meeting to consider the amendment of the town Minto zoning bylaw number 0186 for the property located on 5411 7th line Minto. I'll act as chair of the meeting. I'll call the meeting to order. Request any member of the public present to please sign the attendance record book. Okay, good. If the person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the town of Minto before the bylaw is passed, persons or public bodies not entitled to appeal the decision of the town of Minto to the local planning appeal tribunal, and the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of the appeal before the tribunal unless in the opinion of the board, there's reasonable grounds to do so. I'll ask CEO Clerk White state the municipal address and legal description of the property and when the effective application dates and those were sent.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. The property subject of the amendment is located at part lots 37, concession 6, 5411 7th line, town of Minto. Purpose of the proposed amendment is to rezone the retained agricultural portion of the property to prohibit future residential. The applicants have also requested to rezone the severed rural residential portion of the property to permit a reduced lot frontage, an increased ground floor area, and increased height for an existing barn/accessory building, and prohibit commercial or agricultural uses in the existing barn/accessory structure. This rezoning is a condition of severance B32/18, granted provisional consent by County Land Division. Consent will sever 1.2 hectares parcel with an existing residence, shed, and barn. A vacant 39.3 hectare agricultural parcel would be retained. Notice was mailed to property owners within 400 feet or 120 meters of the property and to applicable agencies July 17th. Posted on those subject lands. Comments were received from the town of Minto staff. The building assistant is here. Curtis Marshall, senior planner, and Jessica Wilton, junior planner, County of Wellington, and Curtis is here, as you know.
Okay, and I'll call upon the applicant or his agent to provide comments regarding the proposed amendment to the comprehensive zoning bylaw number 0186. Do you have any further comments you want to make?
No, there were just 2 drawings sent in.
Yep. Okay. All right. Then I will call on anyone wishing. Oh, we already did that. Anyone wishing to comment in opposition to the proposed amendment? Anybody here? Application as agent. Did you want to, Curtis, did you want to do an overview and Michelle on this, please? Pretty straightforward.
Thank you very much. So the application B3218 was already up for severance, which council has been in support of both times that we brought it to council, with the zoning being one of the requirements to come back for, which is to prohibit the residential development, requesting lot relief. And staff are recommending that the wording of the bylaw allow for the increase in accessory building size until the barn is removed, at which point the normal maximum size of the 1,450 square feet would be permitted. So the barn structure is allowed to remain where anything inside of it has been removed. There's been a change of use, and to allow it to stay and not have any sort of agricultural uses or livestock. But should something happen and Mr. Watson should sell or the barn be taken down, then it will revert back to the proper zoning requirements. Also, the liquid manure tank is being decommissioned, and the accessory use building is not permitted for commercial agricultural uses. Staff are recommending that we approve the zoning amendment.
Curtis, do you want to add your comments?
Sure, thanks. I'll just cut some of them out here since it, as mentioned, is fairly straightforward in terms of the request. So planning staff have no concerns with the request or prohibit the construction of a future dwelling on the retained agricultural portion, nor with the proposed reduced lot frontage of the severed residential portion. And what Mark was referring to, I believe, the two drawings, when the surveyor went out and actually surveyed the lot frontage, it is actually 8 meters and not 9 as indicated on the application, and we had no concerns with the recognition of 8 as opposed to 9. The idea of having only 8 benefits agriculture, as it basically just takes the existing driveway and strip of lawn and doesn't take any field with that. Now, in terms of the retaining the barn, we do know that is very large for an accessory, normal accessory structure. Normally on the property they'd be permitted 1,900 square feet on 3 acres. We know should council have no concerns with the bank barn being recognized as an accessory building, we're recommending that additional provisions be imposed to limit the use of the building. Michelle highlighted several of them. So in the draft, just to summarize, in the draft bylaw that we prepared for your consideration, we've included a prohibition that the barn cannot be used for livestock. It cannot be used for business or commercial use, including a home industry. And the bylaw does not allow for an expansion of the barn or any other future accessory buildings to be constructed. And as Michelle highlighted, the recognition would only apply to the increased square footage would only apply to the existing barn. So.
Questions? Okay. I will state that if you wish to be notified of the decision of the Council of Town Minto in respect to the proposed zoning bylaw amendment application, you must make a written request to the clerk of the Town of Minto at 5941 Highway 89, Harrison, NOG 1ZO, or email at bwhite@town.minto.on.ca. If there's no further questions, I will adjourn the public meeting. Done. Okay, thank you. And everybody need a break? Yeah, let's take a 5-minute break and then we'll get into the other the rest of the stuff.
Break. Hurry, scurry.
Everybody's running.